Hello, fellow Gwent players, and welcome back to The Witcher Trials. We are now in rank number 5. We have 19 reward points. We can claim our Ranger title. Ooh, we get more stuff. Ooh, we get 3 reward points. Nice. But we're not going to use our reward points just yet. I'm going to wait for the expansion to come out so we can open some kegs for the expansion. As hard as I'm going to try, I don't think I can get to pro rank this season, as this will be the last episode for this season. But I will definitely try really hard this episode, which is why I won't be talking a lot. So, post commentary, do your job. Alright. Our first game, Ardal. And I gotta say, this was quite the weird game, because the opponent plays his Vigo, and then he just passes after playing one card. So in round 2, I just played it out to see what happens. And after he played Seret, I had the information of his last card being Aux, and his leader being 10 points, which is a total of 15, and Skaggs alone was already 16. Added with the 10 points from my leader, so I easily win the game 2-0. Game number 2, Ardal again. This time he actually plays to the point of having 7 cards in hand. But his Imperial Brigade was bricked. And even though he played his Imperial Diplomacy for a 10-point crushing trap, his Imperial Brigade, which was bricked, was too weak against my poison. So I win round 1, and with Skaggs and Water in hand still, I decide to bleed round 2 and force his leader. So I went and used my leader, poisoned his sergeant with 2 Dryad Rangers, and now with 6 Harmony cards on the field, I get a huge Novigradian Justice. Wait, this seems kind of familiar. Now with Skaggs in hand, I decide to pass, but his Sarcisius into Tourney Joust was enough to win the round. He was able to actually keep his leader for round 3. Now in round 3, I actually have a pretty ideal hand to keep his leader ability as low as possible, which was the case in the end. He just gets a 4-point leader, and I decide to win the round with Swordmaster, which he would have yoinked if I had played it earlier. Next game, Svalbard. After playing good tempo with Mahaka Marauders, while he was setting up his Priest combo, I proceed to deny his Priest combo, forcing him to pass. With 8 cards in round 2, I decide it was the perfect time for the classic Agitator dry pass. In round 3, he opens with a big Olaf and Knut combo to kill one of the fledglings that I've played with the water. Now, he only has 3 more to go, combined with the 2 Sword Masters, so my engines were pretty good to go. Now, it was time to play some tempo until the end of the game, or until he misclicks and kills his Heme Protector, and therefore forfeits the game, which, also works. My next opponent, Cleaver, who starts with the classic Brawler opener, also adds Slice Seductresses to the mix, and I managed to kill one of each of these engines before he kills my Swordmaster with Executioner. I still decide to play a little deeper into the round with poison on the big Brawler, but after my opponent decides to spend all of his coins to bleed my allies, I decide to keep the good hand and pass. In round 2, I decide to keep the Agitator, hoping for a dry pass. Ah yeah, classic Agitator dry pass. Round 3, double water, let's go! At this point, I just had to deal with his problematic engines like Executioner. I also decided to boost my Dragon instead of Skaggs, as a 5-point Skaggs was more than enough to deal with Menge. In the end, my paraplays made it impossible for him to keep up, even after killing 2 of my big fledglings and his Borzodi finisher. Now, we were 1 game away from rank 4. Who was gonna stand in my way of this rank up? Cleaver. He starts with a big Safecracker, but I keep my poison in hand because he plays a Brawler and he gives a tactical advantage, which gives me a fantastic poison target. And after I played my Novigradian Justice, I was up by 1 point and he had 9 coins, yet he still decided to pass on even and give me the round. In round 2, I bleed, but I don't use leader, and doing that, I force out Summoning Circle. After that, I just decide to play out every single card until the big dragon remains in my hand. In the meantime, he used his summoning circle to summon some poison cards, but in the end he still goes down a card and has to play his Scorch. In round 3, he just kind of gave up completely by playing Dip into Pontar for just 3 coins without damaging any units. Then he plays Borzodi right into my Thunder, and in the end his 13-point Philippa isn't enough against my mighty dragon. Alright, we get to rank number 4. We haven't lost yet, so let's just continue this grind, honestly. The next game was against Arnjolf, so I assume he was playing Regis, which is why I wanted to play for the win in round 1. So I had to blow Water, Barney, then a poison on the 9-point Bear Abomination, which proved a fatal error as he restored his Yuta. I kill the bear, but he keeps pushing until I play my low tempo Ithlin. So I win a card down, and in round 2 I'm still afraid of Regis, so I push with Leader and Justice, while he keeps playing for low tempo. I play my dragon, but he keeps playing low tempo. Now this forces out my Kieran so I don't lose any of the points on Skags. Finally, he plays a big card in Hjalmar. And after killing Hjalmar, he finally plays his Greatsword and his Arnjolf. Now, with my 12-point Malayan in hand, it was a tough decision, but thanks to the power of maths, I realized that Regis isn't enough to keep up. That's not Regis, but Heimdall, just like Regis, wasn't enough. So I also managed to squeeze out his 12-point Yuta from the Sigrifa's right. It was round 3, we were going for top deck mode, but my top deck was pretty weak, yet his was even weaker. Nice. Next game, Phil of Anvil. He gives tactical advantage to his Hawker Smuggler, I give poison to his Hawker Smuggler. So winning on even was now an option. But after I play my Skirmisher for pretty low tempo, there was a turn for him to actually pass and go on equal points. But he refused and played Elias for 2 points. What? So I smash Oak, which forces the pass. In round 2, I bleed, force his Leader, and play the round without using my Francesca. And even in the end, I was able to squeeze out his very last card, which was a 27-point Igni. Whew, kinda got away there. So in round 3, I draw Water, still with my Francesca ability, which kinda just forces him to give up the round. The next game against Meve, who opens with Portal. Alright, at this point I just decided to play some 4 provision cards, boost Skags, and just get out of the round and pass. In round 2, he plays Arbalist, hoping to fish for my removal tools. I don't take the bait, so I play Marauder and stay ahead. He plays his Aretuza. I play my second Marauder, still ahead in points. He plays his Tridom. Now, I know he's gonna push for the round, which allows me to play removal and poison on the Tridom. Poison denied. I lock his Aretuza Adept only for him to play Drummer, but I still had more poison in hand, and that kind of forced out the pass out of him. So I win round 2 with my second poison. In round 3, I get an insane top deck. I have engines, points, control. I mean, what more do you need? It was actually just my full gold hand versus his full gold hand. And in the end, mine was better. Now that just calls for a victory dance. Game number 9, against Francesca. To me, round 1 didn't really matter, especially after he purified my poison. In round 2, he's clearly going for the pass, so I charge carryover and he passes as predicted. In round 3, I have no water, so I'm forced to play out double justice. But my opponent plays his 2 defenders into Cranmar. Now he had 3 engines while I had 0. And I tried to deal with his defender, but he kept boosting it up. And my last plays were just too underwhelming against his Oak and Poison. So our first loss of the episode. The next game was against Francesca again. Just like last game, I didn't really care about round 1, so I passed as soon as possible. In round 2, my opponent plays his Water. Now, what I should do here is also play my Water, but I decide to play Malayan hoping that he passes. He doesn't back down and plays his second Water and a Saskia. An engine overload. After that point, I was actually never able to catch up with him and I get 2-rounded by 5 points. I had to redeem myself in the next game. Calveit. I start with the Swordmaster and give it tactical advantage. He starts with Portal. I deal with his Arbalist, and after turn 2, he plays Calveit for his Spellweaver, which forces out my water. He deals with 1 fledgling, but I manage to keep up in tempo. Out comes the Aretuza Adept. Down goes the Spellweaver. Now, after he played his Cadweni Revenant, I wasn't too worried about it because Barnabas was huge tempo. He plays his next card, Visigurd, but he didn't trigger the Revenants. Math time. Next turn, he'll get 1 point from Aretuza Adept and 4 from his Cadweni Revenant, putting him on 30 points. Now, he needed 9 points to actually win the round. And there's 1 card in his entire deck that 100% can do that. And that is Falibor. Even a Vernon Roach might be risky in this situation. So I take the gamble assuming he did not draw his Falibor and pass. Now what does he do? Next game, Ardal. I start with Marauder. He steals Marauder. Alright, try number 2. I play Marauder. Oh, come on! After that, he plays Diplomacy for an half-elf hunter, only to find Barnabas Beckenbauer from Bribery for 11 points. I mean, that's just great skill, Mr. Opponent. Great skill. Very good skill. So much skill that it forces me to pass on even. In round 2, thanks to his ultimate skill, he finds his Hawker Smuggler, and I'm forced to lock the Hawker Smuggler. At this point, I was just playing catch-up till the very last card, which actually was quite an important card because it was my last Justice target. In round 3, I get a terrible top deck, and as I said, all my Justice targets were now gone, so I get a terrible Justice from Francesca, and because of the skill that he has, he manages to purify my poison. Next game, Francesca. Round 1, yet again, did not matter to me, so I get out as soon as I can. In round 2, he goes for the classic Agitator Dry Pass. I answer with the classic Ithlin Dry Pass. I also deny Swordmaster with Kiran. And in round 3, this happens. Alright. That's great. Now please tell me, which Francesca player wins? The one with no Scoia'tael specials, or the one with the best Scoia'tael specials? Oh wow, who would have guessed? I wouldn't have guessed it. Would you have guessed it? Next game, Detlaff. In round 1, I open with Swordmaster and give it tactical advantage. After that, I deal with his Nekorat. Ah, seriously? I just killed you.
How do you keep getting back in?
I'm a drunk. I don't know nothing about how I do anything. Whoa!
Guess we gotta go do this again. I proceed to kill more of his engines, and even after the Poa tempo, I continue to push the round, because I really wanted to win this round. And there it was. The chance. A great poison target. Because of Goliath's Death Wish, it brings out my dragon and I win the round. In round 2, I decide to push with water and my Francesca, which forces out Oriana, who I lock. And Barney comes in clutch as he always does. But it wasn't enough because he played a pretty big gal for 10 points, which puts us into round 3. And my round 3 top decks were pretty good compared to his Necker, his Plumard, and one Chad Spear Tip, which was nothing compared to my Ultra Chad Skags. The next game was against Calveit. And I know I'm repeating myself, but on turn 1, I play Swordmaster and give it tactical advantage, which helps me murder his Sergeant. So he proceeds with a crazy thinning tempo play, and I kill the Vigo, to which he uses his leader to kill my Swordmaster. Now I was forced to play out Oak, but he gives me a good pass when he played his remedy for my Swordmaster, which he killed earlier. In round 2, he dry passes, giving me the classic Ithlin dry pass. In round 3, his portal bricks with only one scorpion, which we kill, and the second scorpion we just lock. Now, it was just a waiting game for poison, which eventually comes. He also gives us full value on Skags, but he didn't give us a second poison target, so we settle for a Sire, which in the end doesn't actually matter because his Yennefer misses the Tibor anyway. In the end, his Vilgefortz is just insignificant. Next game, Francesca. I assume my opponent is a dwarf deck, so I need to win this round. And after I gave Gabor poison, he decides to pass. So I kill Gabor to win round 1. So in round 2, I decide to push hard and force out the double mercenaries, which I eventually deal with. Then he just plays a second set of mercenaries, one of which I can deal with. Now, I was up by 12 points and decide to pass, so I force out his boosted Polly Dahlberg. In round 3, my opponent suddenly decides he's a Harmony deck, with Water, Milva, Weeping Willow, but in the end, his weak dwarves let him down, giving me the win. We're now in the 17th game of this episode, and we're up against Detlaff. On turn 1, I play Swordmaster and give it tactical advantage. On turn 1, I play Swordmaster. Oh, goddammit, this thing's broken. Let me just fix it. Oh, no, there you go. Okay. After a bit of back and forth, I decide to play Justice for a bit of tempo just so I don't have to lose on even. And then I actually decide to pass after he plays his Queen of the Night, because that is his Purifier target, which is really bad against my poison. In round 2, he pushes with Dandelion into Nekorat. I kill the Nekorat. And after Feast of Blood, I go in with Water. After a while, I eventually force the pass after Gel is poisoned. I kill the Gel and move on to round 3. In round 3, we don't get the greatest draws, but Water from Francesca really helps a lot, because even if one of these guys is killed, you can just keep smashing points, while waiting for some good poison target, which comes with Goliath. I kill the Goliath, triggering his Death Wish, and having a 2-point Spores doesn't really help either, and in the end, Oak finishes the job. One more goddamn win, and then we're out of this. Emir. I mean, do I even need to say what I do turn 1 at this point? Now, at first, I assumed that his deck was Mill, but after he played Summoning Circle, I had a different suspicion. It's the poison deck, isn't it? Is what I thought, especially after he finds the Fangs of Empire through pure skill. It was officially a poison deck. Now, I couldn't allow him to control the length of the second round. I mean, at some point, the guy was even playing Vanilla Ciri, and I was just having none of it. We were going pretty deep into this round, and after a very clever Asire play to summon his Fangs from the graveyard, he finally gave up after I decided to play my Willow for poison. In round 2, I push hard, and I misplay with my Agitator placement, running right into Puffball. But that didn't stop me from pushing, which in the end paid off. Rank number 3. Let's go! Alright, and that concludes the Witcher Trials for the season of the Dryads. We finished in rank 3, which is our highest finish yet, and hopefully the meta in the next patch isn't going to be too messed up for us to be able to climb even further and try and get into pro rank. At this point, it is only a matter of time till we can actually do it, so let's hope next season will be the one. Now, if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, subscribe for more Gwent content, and I'll see you soon.